Hello everyone, welcome back to Believers Science Academy Bengaluru. This is the daily news analysis. Today we'll discuss some of the important articles from prelims, mains as well as interview perspective. So the first article for 23rd September 2025 is from the front page of the Hindu, which talks about India-USA relations and Jai Shankar meets Rubio amid trade strains. So yes, Jai Shankar, Indian minister, has reached USA to meet with his counterpart Rubio. Aim is to talk about strained relations. We all know the recent strain in India and USA relations because of Trump. Okay, first Trump went on with a 50% tariff hike, and then in his recent move, he has added $1 lakh, $1 lakh for H1B visa application, and also the issue of Trump moving towards Pakistan and Trump openly criticizing India, calling it a dead economy. So all these instances show that India and USA relations, which strived so hard to reach to the height, are on the low now. So they are on the low now. So in order to reduce this low turn of India and USA relations, S. Jaishankar has reached USA to bring some sort of consensus with respect to trade, with respect to all these aspects. So diplomatic engagement in New York. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar met US Secretary of State Marco Rubio on the sidelines of 80th United Nations General Assembly, that is UNGA. The meeting is aimed at to repair ties strained by recent US actions, particularly tariffs and visa-free hikes. Jai Shankar stated that discussions covered a range of bilateral as well as international issues. Both leaders agreed on the need for sustained engagement rather than strained relations. This was S. Jaishankar's fifth US visit in 9 months, signaling the importance of India attaches to the relationship with USA. 5 visits in 9 months to a single country. That showcases the significance of USA's relation for India. Next, trade and tariff disputes. Bilateral trade relations are under pressure. USA imposed 50% tariffs on Indian goods, and a new 100,000 or 1 lakh H1B visa dollars, $1 lakh H1B visa fee disproportionately impacts Indian tech firms as well as professionals. The US also revoked visas for Indian executives allegedly linked to the fentanyl drug trade. And Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal is simultaneously in the USA for trade negotiations, reflecting a dual-track effort to stabilize economic ties. So, while S. Jaishankar deals with his counterpart, Piyush Goyal, the Commerce Minister, is also in the USA to deal with trade aspects. So that shows the significance of USA for India. Strategic concerns and quad diplomacy. So, not only from the bilateral trade or bilateral relations, USA-India relation is very important at the geopolitical or at the global level as well, considering the importance of Indo-Pacific region for both the countries and how both countries dealt with Indo-Pacific with a strategy called as Quad, which is the Quad countries: India, USA, Japan, and Australia. All the like-minded countries which wanted a peaceful Indo-Pacific region came together to bring Quad. Because of the strained relation between India and USA at the bilateral level, it also had the impact on Quad. It also had the impact on international level as well. So the meeting follows earlier Quad consultations involving the USA, India, Japan, and Australia. A Quad leader summit is expected in Delhi in November, though no date has been fixed yet. And USA also cancelled India's waiver on the Chabahar port project in Iran, adding another stress point. So recently, not recently, almost 2 years back, USA and Iran were on the brink of war, and USA imposed CAATSA. What is CAATSA? Countering American adversaries through taxation or through sanctions. So under the CAATSA, any country which had relations with respect to Iran with Iran were subjected to CAATSA, countering American adversary through sanctions act. This act. So any country which has relation with Iran was subjected to these sanctions, but they made an exemption. Exemption for who? Exemption for India. Exemption for India with respect to Chabahar port, because India was working on the Chabahar port for almost a decade. So they gave a waiver, meaning even if you are having a relation with Iran, even if you are dealing with relation, even if you are dealing with Iran for Chabahar port, we are not going to put sanctions on you. We are making an exemption for you. That was the waiver provided for India under this CATSA Act with respect to Iran and USA. But now this waiver has also been removed, meaning if India pursues this Chabahar port, if India pursues the Iran relation, then USA is going to put further sanctions on India. So that is another sanction or another stress point that has been added by Trump administration. Political context and leadership signals. President Donald Trump and Prime Minister Modi recently spoke by phone, agreeing to resume suspended trade talks, raising hopes of rapprochement. Next, however, Trump's repeated claim that he ended India-Pakistan conflict continues to irritate India, which rejects the assertion. Even yesterday, even yesterday in the UNGA, Trump said that I was the one who stopped India-Pakistan conflict, but India disagrees to it, and it acts as a strain in Indian US relations. So that is the first article for us, and the second article which talks about another unfortunate event that happened in the this year only. There was a Air India crash which resulted in more than 260 plus deaths, not only on board except one person, not only in the on board of the flight but also people who were in the medical college, those where the flight crash landed. So it resulted in more than 260 people death. So there was an investigation which was directed by AAIB, that is Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau. Now recently there has been a report and some aspects of the reports have been leaked. So Supreme Court has flagged it. The selective leaks of this report is not commendable. So we'll discuss what is this. Supreme Court flags concerns over Air India's crash probe and censor of selective report release. What is it? Supreme Court criticized the selective leaking of the preliminary report by the Airport Accident Investigation Bureau into the June 12 Air India crash in Ahmedabad. The court termed media reports blaming pilot error as irresponsible, stressing that premature conclusions damage reputations and also affect victims' families. So there was a leak. Based on the leak, what was the leak was about? Pilot's error. So pilot's error. According to that leak, the major reason behind the crash of Air India was because of pilot's error, and that is all is needed for Indian media. What they started doing is they started showing this pilot as a villain. They started doing shows in order to increase the TRP. So they started pointing this pilot as irresponsible because of more than 260 lives were lost. But Supreme Court says that until and unless the complete report is out, we cannot put a blame on a single person. So let us refrain from this. Court directly blamed the media, but also directly blamed Airport or Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau for selectively releasing the report. Next, court's observation. Court said that in issues like this, absolute confidentiality must be maintained until the inquiry is complete. Even though the pilots are deceased, their family's dignity and the privacy must be respected. You can make out a pilot to be a villain, you can make out a pilot to be some sort of failure, but though they are deceased, though they are dead, what will be the impact of this villainification of a pilot? It will have a negative impact on the family of these pilots. It can even attract attacks on the family of pilots, because more than 260 people are dead and the family of the deceased in that flight aircraft can see the family of pilot as someone of their villain, someone of a rivalry, which can inflict incidents of violence. So that has to be uh, reduced. Next, Supreme Court emphasized the need for a fair, impartial and expert-led investigation. Next, petition and allegations. This case was brought by an NGO. That NGO was called as Safety Matters Foundation, which is a non-profit which demanded a court-monitored independent probe. And their key allegation was that the preliminary report violated aircraft rules by not fully disclosing the factual data. What is their claim? That critical data was withheld. What is the critical data withheld? Critical data like full digital flight recorder output, that is DFDR output, was not provided or not disclosed, and complete cockpit voice recorder transcripts with the timestamps were not released, and electronic aircraft fault recording data was also not released. So how can you conduct a fair inquiry without making this public? That was the argument of that NGO. And there were also conflict of interest concerns. That is, Advocate Prashant Bhushan said that AAIB probe AIB probe team included it included three serving DGCA officers, which created serious conflict of interest here. So they both belong to same institution. They both are from the government side. So a probe which is to investigate the issue of a government includes government officials. Obviously, there is a conflict of interest. But Justice Suryakant said that noted that the mere presence of serving officers do not automatically imply bias or do not automatically imply conflict of interest. So instead of this, courts are provided certain directions. That is, it issued notice to the union government and DGCA to ensure an impartial investigation. Made it clear that court is not considering public disclosure of inquiry details at this stage. And what is the larger context? June 12 crash killed 260 people, which was one of the largest aircraft crashes or accidents in the recent years. Even after 100 plus days, the investigation has not provided clarity on causes or preventive measures. So this case underscores tension between the public accountability versus confidentiality in the aviation safety probes. We have to wait and see for the final report to be released by AIB, and then we can have a detailed discussion on this. Next, the third article is another article which is focusing on Indian Navy shipbuilding push. 54 vessels under construction. Very important news, very significant news, especially from indigenization of defense, especially from Atmanirbhar Bharat initiative. That is largest ever indigenous program. Indian Navy is undertaking its biggest shipbuilding program to date with 54 warships under construction in Indian shipyards. 10 vessels are expected to be inducted or commissioned by the end of 2025, and all the 54 are expected to be commissioned or inducted by 2030. And what is the larger significance or strategic goals and vision? India aims to expand its naval strength to 200 plus warships and submarines by 2035 and possibly by 230 by 2037. This program supports India's Sagar initiative, that is security and growth for all in the region. Vision reinforcing Navy's role as the first responder and preferred security partner in the Indian Ocean region. So, as I discussed, the significance of Indo-Pacific is very important for India. So, in order to be a key player in the Indo-Pacific region, especially in the Indian Ocean region, India has to be the first provider. That is, first responder, and India has to be a net security provider, a net security partner to all the countries here. In order to achieve that status, what does India require? India require a strong navy. So in order to get the strong navy, India is going for this particular indigenization of Indian Navy. The focus is on maritime security, capacity building with partners, and regional cooperation. This is one of the initiative to curb increasing Chinese influence in the Indian Ocean region as well. Next, from buyer's navy to builder's navy, one of the very significant outcome of this 54 naval ships construction or production. That is, the Atmanirbhar Bharat initiative is driving indigenization. That is, officials emphasizes that Indian Navy has shifted from buyer's navy to builder's navy. That is, a importer's navy to a self-sufficient navy, which can even convert into exporter's navy in the future. Next, indigenous shipbuilding generates employment across ancillary industries, boosting the defense ecosystem as well. Next, transition year for naval modernization. July 1, 2025 marked a transition. That is, the commission of INS Tamal, a Russian-built Kriva-class frigate, the last major foreign-built warship India will induct. After this, India is going to induct all indigenous-built warcrafts only. Next, going forward, India's warship acquisition will rely almost entirely on the domestic production. Next, the indigenous success stories. Recent delivery of INS Androth, that is second in the ASW SWC series by GRSC Kolkata, showcases progress in the local shipbuilding. With 80% indigenous content, INS Androth exemplifies India's growing independence in the defense manufacturing capabilities. And strategic significance is that expansion is not just about the numbers, but about technological self-reliance and regional power projection. By 2035, India's navy is expected to be blue water force capable of safeguarding national interest and countering challenges from China as well as Pakistan in the Indonesian region. So, in that aspect, this particular vision or this particular project of Indian Navy is going to be very important in the coming years. Next, an editorial which talks about the growing relevance of the traditional medicine. So it talks about the relevance of traditional medicine not only in India but across the world. How other countries are also moving towards traditional medicine and what can India can do to gain out of the potential Indian Ayurvedic medicine or potential Indian traditional medicine. First, we'll discuss about global acceptance and market growth. That is 88% of WHO members, that is out of 194 170 countries, practice traditional medicine. Serves as primary health care for billions, especially in the low and middle income countries, due to accessibility and affordability of the homeopathic tablets or medicine. Traditional medicine also contributes to biodiversity conservation and nutrition security and sustainable livelihoods. Global traditional medicine market is projected to reach a whopping 583 billion by 2025 with a growth rates of 10 to 20% annually. So, for comparison, China's traditional manufacturers or traditional medicine sector is around $122.4 billion, and Australia's herbal medicine is around 3.97 billion, and India's very own Ayush sector is around $43.4 billion. So this showcases not only the importance of traditional medicine from the healthcare perspective, but also as a industry, but also as a manufacturing, but also as a export-driven industry as well, or service provider industry as well. Next, India's Ayurvedic transformation. India's Ayush industry expanded eightfold in less than a decade. Manufacturing revenues rose from 21,697 crore rupees in 24-15 to 1.37 lakh crores now. Service sector generated around 1.67 lakh crore rupees. So 1.37 plus 1.67 crore, almost 3 lakh crore rupees is the generation of income out of this traditional medicine industry. India exports Ayush products worth $1.54 billion to 150 plus countries. Next, formal recognition of Ayurveda in the several countries enhances soft power projection as well. And NSSO survey in 22-23 awareness, there is 95% of awareness about Ayurvedic in rural and 96% in urban. Over 50% of the population uses Ayurvedic systems. That is, Ayurveda is the most preferred Ayurvedic or rejuvenation and preventive care. And also, this Ayurveda has recognized or has been given a scientific validation and global expansion. That is, major institutions like All India Institute of Ayurveda, National Institute of Ayurveda, Indian Institute of Teaching and Research in Ayurveda, and CCRAS. All these institutions have provided scientific validation and helped in global expansion. Focus is mainly on the clinical validation, drug standardization, and integrative care models. Global outreach is 25 bilateral agreements, 52 institutional partnerships, and 43 Ayush information cells in 39 countries, 15 academic chairs established in foreign universities, and establishment of WHO Global Traditional Medicine Center in India marks a milestone. Along with this, integration of AI, digital health, and big data with Ayurveda for predictive and preventive care. Next is Ayurveda for people and planet. Ayurveda's philosophy is not only for people but also for planet, that is environment, biodiversity, everything is included here. Ayurveda's philosophy is a balance between body, mind, humans, and nature, consumption and conservation. Okay, so between body and mind, between humans and nature, and between consumption and conservation. It addresses lifestyle diseases and climate change simultaneously. It extends beyond humans to veterinary care and planet health as well. Sorry, plant health as well. 2025 theme for Ayurveda is Ayurveda for people and planet, which is observed on Ayurveda Day, that is September 23. So that is the reason why we are discussing Ayurveda. Okay, September 23 is called as Ayurveda for people and planet, and September 23 is celebrated as Ayurveda Day. Conclusion is that India is positioning itself as a global leader in traditional medicine by embracing ancient wisdom with modern science and technology. Ayush is no longer a cultural practice but a wellness movement with a growing influence on global health policy, sustainable development, and preventive healthcare models. Ayurveda Day 2025 serves as a reminder of its potential to contribute to a balanced and sustainable future. Okay, so very important and interesting article. Next is about H1B1's new 100K fee. Why young women are most at risk. I am bringing a topic of the day video on this particular topic, but just we'll discuss on impact of H1B visa on women. This article argues that the US has introduced one-time $1 lakh fee for new H1B visa applicants, only for new H1B visa applicants. That is, this move disproportionately impacts new applicants, not the continuing workers, only for the new applicants. So, gender disparity in the H1B poll, that is, continuing workers. In the continuing workers for financial 24, there are 76% of men and 26% of women in India, and new applicants 63% are men and 37% are women. So women's share is high in fresh applicants, meaning they are hit harder by the new fee, because in continuation you don't have to pay the new fee, but if you are applying for the new one, you have to pay the 1 lakh fee. So $1 lakh, $100,000 fee you have to pay. So as a result, new applicants are going to be impacted more. So we're talking about median employment, median salary, etc. It is not important for us. Just we have to know here is that is new workers earn much less, making employer scholarship costlier and sponsorship costlier and less viable. So what the companies are going to do, instead of hiring the new workers, instead of hiring the new employees from India or other countries, what they are going to do is they are going to hire someone from the local, or they are going to keep on continuing the workers who are already present in USA. Okay. Next, there is also gender pay gap in H1B salaries as well. Initial employment, that is women's 25% is around 71K dollars compared to men's 80K, and median is 91K and 90K, and the 75th percentile is 125K to 131K. So no need to worry about the median of percentile, you have to worry about this. So men's is always on the higher side compared to women in the payment as well. Next, across all the levels, women earn less, making them less attractive to employers under the high cost regime. Now compare that with China. You might argue this is the same case with all the country, but not really. It is the gender policy or gender gap or gender parity issue with respect to H1B visa is stark in India. That compared with China, in India and China together account for 83% of H1B visa beneficiaries, and gender skew is more pronounced in India, and Indian women earn and participate less than men, unlike the Chinese counterparts. So you can see the chart here. In this chart, it provides an like comparison of India and China. In the female percentage, that is the approved B1 beneficiaries for the continuing employers in India 78% and women is 22%. In initial employment 66% and 31% for women. Whereas in China, in the continuing employment 56% is men and 46% is women. In the fresh 15% is the men, 14% is women. So it is proportionate to both men and women. So gender gap parity, gender gap is very less in China compared to India. Okay. Next. Younger women disproportionately hit. That is, 75% of the women approved for new jobs were under 35 compared to the 65% of men. So, women less than 35 years of age are composing that 75% of the women approved H1B visas. So, more women below the age of 35% age have to pay $1 lakh now. Next, the new entry cost hits early career professionals, especially women, the hardest. So this is the stage, that is early career professionals is the stage when they require more support, when they are financially vulnerable. But what is happening here? In that vulnerable stage, they are hit with extra amount or extra cost. Next, education trends is women approved for new jobs is 44% and master degrees and 39% of the men. Fewer women had only a bachelor degree. At PhD and professional levels, gender differences were negligible. And despite the higher qualifications, women still face salary disadvantages and high barriers due to the fee. Especially that Indian women are most vulnerable. Why? Indians form 60% of the female and 75% of the male H1B beneficiaries. And the triple disadvantage for Indian women is lower salaries comparable to men, younger age profile, that is higher exposure to entry cost, and large representation in the applicants pools. This is the summary of article. But I will bring a separate video topic of the day explaining the importance of H1B visa, a fee hike, and its implication on India and USA relations as well. Next, Prince pointers. First article in the Prince pointer or the per point is about Yuan Wang Fai. As the name suggests, it has to be Chinese only. So latest news is China's spy ship Yuan Wang Fai has returned to the Indian Ocean 3 years after docking at Sri Lanka's Hambantota port. What is it about? It was launched in 2007, operated by PLA Strategic Support Force, supports space, missile, and hypersonic weapons monitoring. The features are displacement is about 25,000 tons, length is 22 meters, beam 25, crew 400 not necessary. Diesel powered, generates electricity for approximately 3 lakh people, radars track missile launches 3,000 km away. It can launch missiles up to 3,000 kilometers away. Tracks spacecraft in LEO, that is low Earth orbit, geostationary Earth orbit, and deep space as well. ESM suit intercepts radar and comms of foreign warship and aircraft. All we have to remember is this particular point. It was stationed at Sri Lanka's Hambantota port, but now it has been taken away from the docking port, and now it is floating in the Indian Ocean, which poses threat to India. So now add that to India's naval indigenization. Now you understand why India is pushing for indigenization. You might ask, why is China docking its ship in Sri Lanka? Why isn't India doing anything about it? Because China had put this Sri Lanka in the debt trap policy, meaning China had given loans to Sri Lanka, okay, which Sri Lanka was unable to repay. When it was unable to repay, what China did was, if you are not able to repay the money, let us borrow some sort of land. Let us deal with land. So as a result, it got Hambantota port for 90 years of lease. 90 years of lease. According to this, we will maintain Hambantota port. We will see after Hambantota port. But what you do is, you have to give the access of Hambantota port to Chinese vehicles or Chinese ships as well. This is a very bad decision from the perspective of Sri Lanka as well as from India as well. India should have acted sternly. India should have acted boldly. India should have came forward to help Sri Lanka. But that did not happen. As a result, Chinese string of pearls theory, which is surrounding India. Okay, surrounding India. So one is Hambantota port here, other one is Gadar port in Pakistan, and other one is Sitwe port in Myanmar. Sitwe port in Myanmar. So all these ports are under the control of China. So you can basically see this is a string of pearls. It is covering covering India all around the space. Okay, all around the Indian Ocean region. As a result, India has also launched diamond necklace strategy, where it is also has in Sitwe port, and it also has one of the ports in Maldives and Andaman Nicobar, and also in for Godhar it has Chabahar port. But they are still in the nascent stage. They are still in the construction stage. But the worry thing here is India is making diamond necklace just to protect itself from China. what should India should be doing? Actually, India should be surrounding China from the South China Sea or get the help of Japan. That is where the Quad was very important for India. That is why China used to accuse Quad as the NATO of India and USA. So that is why India Quad was very important for India, but that has been on stalled because of Trump and India relations. We have to wait and see what will happen in the future. Next, Project Vinayak. Latest news is that Project Vinayak of the Border Roads Organization celebrated its 50th Rising Day at Kargil, Ladakh. It was launched in 2010 by Border Road Organization. New name is name derived from Operation Vijay, that is Kargil War 1999. So, what is this project about? Objective is to provide road connectivity to Kargil and Janskar. Earlier under the project Himang, strategic roads are it connects Jozila, Kargil and Leh axis, Nimmu, Padam and Darcha axis. Significance is strengthens security infrastructure along the LC line of control and boost socio-economic development of the region as well. And the welfare measures under this sector or this project is insulated shelters, sanitation, protective gear, winter clothing, and health camps for casual paid laborers as well. Not only focusing on the army or the border, but also focusing on the people in that particular region. So these are some of the important articles for today. I think I've covered them holistically. If you like the video, then please hit the like button, comment on it, and also share with the friends. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe to the channel and click on the bell icon. And also be opinionated. Write your opinions in the comment box. People, because UPSC respects a person of opinions. You have to always have your own opinions. Build your opinions. Discuss in the comment box. Debate in the comment box. Let us see who comes out with the best opinions. Okay. With this, I will end the video. Jai Hind, Jai Karnataka.